how we can create communities of currencies, of multiple currencies. And we're going to do this using the open source Bancor protocol, and I'm going to step you through kind of how that works. So in the simulation here, we've got, similar to the last few videos, we've got an external market up in the top right, and then we have some kind of suburb or slum or village here with about 100 traders, and money is coming in on a weekly to monthly basis to workers, and that circulates and pumps back out to the city. But at the same time, what's happened here is that we have several currencies going on in the city, and I want to show you how several currencies can interact with each other and sort of act as one community currency that's more resilient. So first off, we've got these agents here, and I just want to describe how that is. So we've got 7 agents. We've got service sector, production workers, laborers in blue, different types of cooperatives that are either service-based or production-based, retail shops, and foreign retail shops. And so this is really an approximation, a generalization of a community, and it's good enough for our purposes of demonstrating what's going on here. So first I'm going to clear all this off, and I'm going to create kind of 2 kind of mock-up communities here. And we can say one of them is similar to one of our programs here in Kenya. In the top left here, this is like Bangladesh, where we have some people working in the community, working for the outside city like Mombasa or Nairobi. They're spending their money locally, and eventually they buy imports, and that money goes back out to the city. So we've created a currency here similar to Bangla in red. So it's flowing around, it's creating some stability in that system. But as we've shown in some previous videos, that's only as resilient as the diversity of the network, you know, how many businesses are in it. And if people start pulling out or defaulting, where they spend their currency and they don't accept it back, you end up with a lot of chances for critical failure and slow growth. So this is a challenge we've had in Kenya, is that we've created several currencies, but there's been very little way to connect them together. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to create another community over here. Those communities aren't connected with each other, they're not trading with each other, but they're fairly close neighbors. So in the bottom right here, this could be Ngomeni Pesa, which is also in Mombasa, and you can see they have their yellow currency here, and those 2 currencies aren't trading with each other, and so this is a big problem we have. We've created lots of currencies in Kenya, for instance, but how do we set a common value for them to trade with each other? And the way we've done that so far on paper is that we've connected them to the Kenyan shilling. We say one voucher is always equal to, you know, the equivalent amount of Kenyan shillings, but that very much depends on the supply. And so Grassroots Economics is a nonprofit that is creating the supply for these communities. They're issuing it into the community, essentially airdropping it, and they're doing it in equal ways in those communities. But as we get more and more currencies, how do we establish that the supply of this currency isn't 10x the supply of this other currency, which would make their value different, right? So the solution that Bancor came up with, and the Bancor protocol is basically the fruition of this, is to connect these currencies to a common reserve. Okay, and so the idea is that these 2 communities you see on the screen here could connect to a common reserve token. So if I look at my tokens here, I can see at the top level here, that's the reserve token. There's a certain amount of it. We say its value starts at 1 Kenyan shilling, and we've created 2 community currencies here. There's one red and one yellow. And right now they're not trading with each other at all. They both started with the equal amount of supply of these currencies, and now we're going to say, okay, let's enable the Bancor protocol and allow them to start trading with each other. So first I'm going to add some traders in the middle here. I'm going to enable the Bancor protocol so that there's some connection between the 2 currencies. And what you're going to see in the tokens here is that these 2 community currencies, their value, the price of them relative to that reserve currency is going to fluctuate up and down, right? So as the yellow currency, or the red currency in the top left, as these traders in the middle decide they want to take that red currency and trade it into the yellow currency because there's something they want to buy in that other community, what that's going to do is reduce the value of the red currency, and it's going to increase the value of the yellow currency. And so that's what's happening right now. So if you look here, the price of 1 unit of the yellow currency is 1.14 compared to 0.84 of the other currency. So they're shifting, they're pivoting around that central reserve. And what that does is it brings a lot of stability to this network. So if this yellow currency or the red currency were to die off, well, they would still have the yellow currency to trade with. And so the more of these currencies interacting, it's a way for us to connect many, many different communities. And in Kenya, for instance, in one city or one slum, there's so many diverse groups, right? There's different religious groups, different tribes, and there's a lot of like neighborhoods and sections. So to imagine one community currency spreading through that entire network based on one cooperative or one group is quite hard, because the membership of that cooperative is maybe only 200 people. How is that going to spread through the entire network? And so this gives us a way of creating one community currency made out kind of a patchwork of smaller community currencies.